Okay, Brian. In the first part, we sort of explained why you decided to drop the dream of becoming a jockey again. Did you ever, at that point, consider turning your back on the racing industry altogether?
No, that never crossed my mind, because even when I was a jockey, I was always buying and selling a few horses. I had a big interest in the training side of things, and training was always going to be my goal. I mean, even before I came to England, I had my own pointer in Ireland. I was training my own pointer from home and stuff. So through trial and error, I'd half worked out. I'd worked out how I was going to do things. So I was never ever going to turn my back on it.
Okay, you were based up north when you were a jockey, and now you're in Lambourn. I assume that was because of it was Oaksey House originally. You came back.
It wasn't, to be honest. Because we're looking in the north now, there's Jack Berry House, so there's the centres are there for us. But I went assistant to Dr. Richard Newland, Grand National winner trainer in Worcester, in the Worcester area. I mean, I learned an awful lot off him. He's an incredible man. He just does things so well, and it was a great learning curve for me. But then when I was doing my trainer's course, my modules for my trainer's course, I came back to Lambourn. I used Lambourn as a base, so I was in a daily routine. I was working in Lambourn, so it was my daily routine.
Okay, so you talk about the modules you've got to do for your trainer's course. A lot of people may be surprised that you need to even do a course to be a trainer. You probably sort of learn it off of somebody. Can you give us a little bit of background into what that entails?
Yeah, I mean, you have to there's just different speakers, and whether it's staff management, whether it's like nutrition, you have to sit through the whole. There's 3 modules, so there's 3 separate weeks, but it was quite good, and I guess you have to, the BHA have to be assured that you've now done the modules, and you can apply for your license to get your license to train. I mean, it's not everyone that can train professionally, so.
Okay, so you give yourself every chance. At the moment, I met you just after you've been riding out this morning. I think, is it for Clive Cox you ride out? Now, you talked about potential injuries of a fall before. Now, I imagine that you could be a lot more injured than most people if you manage to fall off on the gallops. Are you just incredibly brave, or is the love of what you do banish any fear?
Well, brave, or I think other people would class it as a bit silly, but it's a passion, and it is. Obviously, I am at greater risk, but the way I look at it is, even when I sat my driving test a year after the injury, you have a 25% chance of having a car crash, and I'm allowed to drive on the road, so I think I'm willing to take plenty of risks.
And does Clive sort of let you get hands-on in the yard as well, sort of learn a bit of the background of training and stuff? Yeah,
I do. I have a very good relationship with Clive, and I go racing with Clive quite a bit, and our sales are. I really look up to him. He's a good man, and I have a lot of respect for him.
So thinking practically, your ambition now is to be a trainer. You've shown that the drive that you've shown in the past, you can do whatever you want to do. What is the first practical goal in attaining that dream to be a trainer at the moment?
Well, I'm working towards that every day, but as I said, I come from a dairy farm in Ireland. I don't come from a racing family, so financially it's going to be near impossible, but I've achieved impossible before by doing what I've done, so I'm not going to give up. But I would, if it was, I just need the support of the racing community. I mean, the racing community have been incredible to me already, and if I was lucky enough to get a little bit of support, like a little bit of backing, then it would get me on my feet.
Now we're in Lambourn. Is Lambourn a very close-knit community in the support network as well for you?
It is. I mean, you see a lot of good people in Lambourn. There's some of the world's top trainers are around the Lambourn area. It's a good place. It's a big racing village. But I mean, there's if you look on the BHA website, there's 600 licensed trainers in the UK, and they're not all just in Lambourne. You could train on if you do the job right, you can train from most places. I think it doesn't have to be Lambourne that you train out of, or Newmarket that you train out of. Like, I'd be willing to train out of anywhere.
Okay, but we're talking to you sort of today, I suppose, really because you had the terrible injury which you survived. Now, it is part of the ambition to become a trainer to ensure that the Brian, the chap that had a terrible injury, isn't what you're remembered for. You want to go because you're only 30.
Exactly.
You're still quite young, regardless of what you might think.
Sometimes I feel older, but no, it's not. I don't want to be known as the Brian Toomey that had the fall. I want to be known as obviously someone that has made a good name for himself as a trainer. To be honest, I'm trying to leave it all behind me, but I'm lucky enough to survive what I survived, and it was that serious. It's obviously going to come up in conversation quite a bit, but no, I want to be known as Brian Toomey, the person who's made it as a trainer.
One thing that interests me, Brian, people that are involved with riding horses, training horses, jockeys, they've got a passion for it, and it doesn't matter if it's badly paid, the rewards are poor. What is it that is such a magnet for people? It's like a drug. Once they're there, they're hooked. What is it you love about it so much? Well,
it's an incredible job. You're working with a beautiful animal. I mean, a horse can't talk to you, so it's all, you're all trying to work out what's what. At the end of the day, training horses or riding horses, it's an opinion. Like say for instance, how did a horse go? That's someone's opinion. So in my way of looking at it is, I hope my opinion will be right more times than not. But as I say, there's a lot of people you'd look up to that do really, really well. I mean, I would love to be known as a good horseman, a person that cares very well for the horse, that knows the horse, that works out what exactly the horse would benefit from, or what the horse, what's say for instance the horse's best distances, or I'd put a lot of thought and effort into that. But as I say, it is addictive, and I mean it was the one thing, it was the passion that killed me, but it's my passion has brought me back into it. You know what I mean? It is a great job.
Okay, you were a jump jockey, but now you want to specialise in flat when you become a trainer. Why the change of codes?
Well, I did have a few rides on the flat when I was a jockey, but realistically, I mean, there's my goal would be when I get owners is I would like to make it pay for them, and I would hopefully that they can see that it's paying for them a little bit. There's more chance of making better prize money on the flat. I mean, every owner wants to go to Royal Ascot, so I try to sell that dream as well. But it's, I think it's, I mean, as well, obviously the flat season is in the summer. People want to go racing, and they don't want to put on all their overcoats going racing. So I think it's, the flat racing is the way forward, I think.
And it is obviously, apart from the jumping side of it, is the mechanics of training a flat horse and jump horses do they differ much?
It is, but realistically, is that owners obviously have to be very, very patient, but it's a slower process with a jump horse, because I mean, a jump horse, you can't realistically, they don't tend to run as much, or they tend to take longer. I mean, a jump horse, you might own him as a yearling or as a 2-year-old. He mightn't run till he's a 4 or 5-year-old, and it's a slower process. So I would to keep a good relationship with my owners. I think it would be. I think flat horses would be the way forward.
And do you think, you mentioned breeding before, do you think the breeding aspect would naturally follow on if when you become a successful trainer?
To be honest, no, it's not something that I'm passionate about. I would like to choose different pedigrees that I like, out of many different horses. The breeding side of things has never been an interest. Okay,
Brian, thank you very much. So next stop hopefully taken out that trainer's license, and anybody watching, they know where to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I mean, I would appreciate any help possible and any support, but I'm trying hard, and I'm not going to run out of my determination. I'm going to stick at it, because it is my main goal. So, like, I would appreciate any support.
Okay, right, Toomey. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.